Kamali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on Newsfeed today. More legal action is underway against the leadership of Myanmar for their treatment of the Rohingya. We hear from the founder of a campaign to get people to write more letters. Time magazine's 100 next. And Mackie D's tries to show it can be environmental. And top of our newsfeed, the Rohingya, Myanmar and the ICC. Now, the government may have never signed the treaty that binds them to the rulings of the International Criminal Court, but that hasn't stopped the body from beginning an investigation into what the UN called a textbook case of ethnic cleansing in the way that the Myanmar government treated the Rohingya in 2019. Take a look at this. And what's happening at the ICC is not the only bit of legal action the leadership of Myanmar are facing over their treatment of the Rohingya. The country's de facto leader, Aung San Suu Kyi, is being sued by human rights groups in a court in Argentina over that genocide. Now, Suu Kyi was given the Nobel Peace Prize in 1991 for her work as a freedom advocate for Burmese people. She does not recognize the predominantly Muslim Rohingya as being part of the Myanmar population. Her government is also being sued at the European Court of Justice by the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Let's take a look at some of the other things that caught our eye on social media. Well, the hashtag #WhereIsRadwa has been trending out of Egypt. Twitter says a woman called Radwa Mohammed, who recently posted a video critical of the nation's First Lady, has been arrested by the security services. There have been a number of recent protests in cities across Egypt in the recent past against the rule of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Well, this picture of two 5-year-olds who say they are twins has gone viral. The little ones, as you can see here, are called Miles and Tanner. Apparently, they wanted to go to Twins Day at school as twins because they told their parents they look exactly the same. Now, some on social media are holding up as evidence that race is a construct and that children, before they're polluted by society, see one another equally. And this kid bouncing on a bouncy castle, as we call them, or a bounce house if you're an American, with his hands in his pockets, completely unfussed, is being used as an example of the internet's collective ennui right about now. Wow, bouncy. Now, there was yet another school shooting in the United States yesterday. This time, 2 were killed, many were injured, and countless numbers were traumatized. The killer was 16 years old. There are 326 million people in America. There are 393 million guns. So, if spread out evenly, everyone would get one. Isn't that what democracy is all about? And every time there is a shooting, nothing is really done by politicians to make it harder for people to get their hands on guns. In fact, at almost the same time that this teenager was killing his classmates, a politician was saying this.
If I wanted to give my best friend's son or grandson my hunting rifle, would we first have to appear before a licensed gun dealer and go through a lengthy and potentially expensive background check? This is my understanding. We have many questions like this. My constituents would like to have an opportunity to weigh in on our measures like these, which is why we can't fast-track legislation that affects America's Second Amendment rights.
That was Cindy Hyde-Smith. She's a senator from Alabama, and she was objecting to proposed legislation which will bring in background checks for gun owners. Now, David Hogg tweeted about all of this. He was caught up in the shooting at Parklands High School. He wrote saying that he's tired of days like this. And someone called Newville80 posted this image showing the circular, repeating nature of American political inaction on gun control. Now, digital media may have lessened the need to put pen to paper, but that doesn't mean the art of letter writing is any less powerful. Girls Love Mail is a campaign to bring hope to breast cancer sufferers in the United States. They'll receive letters from all around the world, and we spoke to the founder, Gina Mulligan, who told us why she began the project.
It all began actually with my own journey. I am a survivor with breast cancer of 2009, and it really began because I am an author and I was working on a story of letters. So I was researching letters and writing a novel of all letters when I was diagnosed. And so letters were kind of part of my world. And suddenly I'm a patient, and I started receiving mail. And I actually received over 200 letters, mostly from people I did not know. They were kind of friends of friends who heard about my situation. And that's when I realized I think we've forgotten, with all the text messages and emails, how important it is to get something handwritten. You know, they're very tangible, and they were so healing. They were so much a part of what helped me get through my treatment, that once I did get through, fast forward 2 years, and I'm free of cancer and doing well, I really wanted to use the letters to give back. And so I began Girls Love Mail really just to start locally, and it kind of just grew on its own. The one that really kind of struck me early on was a young writer. She was a young girl, maybe 11 or so, who wrote about her mother having breast cancer when she was a child, and just some of her memories of that and what it meant to her as a child watching her mother go through breast cancer. And she included a photo, and it was a little picture of her as maybe a 4-year-old, and her mother had lost all of her hair and had the head wrap, and here was this little child with a matching head wrap. And it was such unexpected to have a photo. It was the first time someone included a personal image like that with their letter, and that really struck me. Just to see how open children are with sharing this experience, to see how open we are in discussing breast cancer now. I always say I get to see the best in people. We see so much around the world going on that can be so much negativity. And I read these letters, and people really are kind. There is goodness in the world. And I think that's the one blessing of Girls Love Mail for me personally and my volunteers, is we get to see it every day by opening the letters.
Well, the publication Time magazine like to declare which people they decide are very important. This is the magazine that has its annual Person of the Year award. And now they've revealed 100 people who they say will be very important in the years to come. And we will keep spinning around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Friday. Well, this animation released by the American Geophysical Union shows how the human-caused warming of the planet has led to the near disappearance of Arctic sea ice. It begins in 1984 and shows how year on year, as the Earth warms thanks to our impact, the ice thins and nearly disappears. This is not only loss of habitat, but all that ice will become water, which will then inundate coastal communities all over the world. Recent evidence suggests that even a modest rise will affect more than 200 million people, leading to huge human migrations. Scientists predict that soon, during summer, there will be no ice in the Arctic at all. Parents in Germany must get their kids vaccinated for measles or be fined €2,500. There's been a huge increase in the number of measles cases recently as people around the world listen to junk science and conspiracy theories about the efficacy of vaccines. France has one of the highest numbers of parents who are what the WHO call vaccine hesitant. Health experts rate vaccine hesitancy as one of the world's top 10 health concerns. Taylor Swift posted a long note to Twitter explaining how her former management team of Scooter Braun and Scott Borchetta are attempting to stop her from performing some of her old songs. It's the latest chapter of a long saga between her and the men she once worked with. They own the master recordings of her work from when she was on the label Big Machine Records. That means they own the licensing and performance of those songs, and because she's in dispute with the aforementioned Braun and Borchetta, they're exercising their legal right to control when and where those songs are performed. Swift seems to hope that by tweeting about it, the internet will fix her problems. She plans to re-record her old songs next year on her new label. And the actor Monique has sued Netflix for racial and gender discrimination. Monique says she was offered only $500,000 for a comedy special on the streaming service. She says other people have been paid way more than she was offered, and cites Jerry Seinfeld, who reportedly signed a $100 million deal for 2 stand-up specials and an interview series, and Dave Chappelle, who got $60 million for 3 shows. She says even Amy Schumer got $13 million for hers. Now, McDonald's are desperate to try and prove they're working to protect the environment. Despite the fact their main product, beef burgers, come as a result of an industry that emits more carbon than most, cattle farming, they're now announcing they're revamping and making eco-friendly their straws.
We've been testing in many different markets for quite a period of time that we're in the process of rolling out across all of our European restaurants, which is a new flurry packaging. So this removes the need for, the old version had a plastic lid on there, and this really has flaps that fold in that kind of act as a lid. Now, it sounds quite simple and straightforward, but actually there was a lot of innovation behind that.
And last up, some nice video of a little macaque in the snow making a snowball. Now, this was filmed and posted to Facebook by the Milwaukee County Zoo. As you can see, the ape decides to craft a ball of snow before nibbling on it. Now, we on the Newsfeed have been theorizing as to why this monkey made a ball of snow and ate it, and came to the scientific conclusion it was bored. Well, that will do from the Newsfeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints and suggestions. You'll find me at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and follow me on Twitter. Follow, subscribe and add. See you again soon.